And
I'm up in Nambour, so
very nice.
halfway along the Sunny Coast.
Oh,
In
well,
hinterland.
on the TV, so
Away from the madness of the
coming out of
coast.
the laptop.
Away from the madness.
Not partially.
You haven't got teenagers then?
No, I offloaded them. In Sydney with their father. And they weren't mine.
Well, it looks like a cozy little crew.
Yes. Yeah, Stuart's just doing a bit of tech stuff because he's moved offices since the last Joomla.
Oh,
I'm sure he'll fill us in on, but he's moved offices, and so obviously a bit of a frenzy packing up and moving in a week.
yeah, that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah, and then reconfiguring and setting up all the the systems, and much easier from my little home in Melbourne.
Yes, I've downsized, but got computers all over the place instead of one office now. So.
I just have this one dedicated room.
So what do you've been? Are you a long-term Joomla?
Barely, yeah. I'm trying to think. I probably a couple of years. I'm certainly trying to think what version. Definitely early 2s, maybe 1.7.
Yeah, I can't put a time on it.
But I tended to just do more design back then and let others do the templating and building, whereas now I do. I've certainly done more. I'm kind of trying to pull back now because my workload's too high.
Yeah, I
Spend more time on design and get others to help me now, I guess. So I kind of don't full circle.
Yeah, so I enjoy doing more back-end stuff. And design is a...
Reduced rental through COVID, and you get treated like that. So,
Yeah.
anyway, put that in nice
Going on there.
Yeah.
What sort of back-end stuff are you doing, Tony?
Basically, from on there.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm working for a client that's just reminded me I did his first system 25 years ago.
Stays like that.
Wow.
I think that then you had to do it from scratch. But I've got a Joomla system for a finance
Having said that, the probably
loan
somebody
company,
boxes in or something.
and I'm linking CRM, ACY mailing, and something else.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that with
Ticket
Breeze
on this
forms
thing 'cause it keeps.
because you can write a lot of good PHP in that.
Yeah, so I think it's overheating up in here.
Yeah.
And initially it was Bluetooth. Now it
I
lasts
get
maybe
Stuart to help with that
half hour, might last an hour.
integration when it's required.
Yeah, well, this one does a lot. They needed mail outs because they're marketing. They're using it for their marketing, so they simply enter a contact form from a certain page.
Still got another
It
year.
knows what page you're on, and it sends out an appropriate
It dies.
email and
Probably
PDF
little
attachment.
stickers on it. You know,
And
it's
then
just like the
follow it.
last one I bought. One before this
And
one.
then
I bought it.
puts them into the CRM.
Put my stickers on it. It died and I had to swap it.
But that's why I'm here, because we're having trouble with upgrades to Joomla 4.
Oh, well, that's a good way to come and join and find out what the others will have to explain, and we've all given it a nudge.
Yeah. one forward and one
We've
back.
had most of the roadblocks. So there's a lot of sites there's a lot of extensions that just aren't quite ready. So it really
That's the problem, aren't there? There's like the Joomla CRM are not supporting Joomla 3 anymore. But the others aren't ready to go, and that's
no, and the conundrum of whether they actually will or whether they're going to abandon ship and just exit stage left, none of us really know.
Yeah.
They're certainly taking their time, some of them. Some are working really hard to integrate though, so having said that, there's plenty of good ones that are. And I've certainly started migrating whenever I can. There's nothing too complicated. I'm certainly attempting to upgrade. So, but last month we spoke that it was actually more an issue of the PHP 8 integration that was causing roadblocks than it was actually a lot of the extensions. So it was their compatibility with PHP 8.
Yes, that's where I think I've got issues, but I'm doing it a different way now. I've starting from scratch, bringing bit by bit over. I think there's also problems with the template.
It's a good opportunity to clean up a database by doing it that way. So
I know. This week I'm doing images because I've got images all over the place, and
oh boy, yeah.
I found a way to what they call scrape all the images used on a site, so I know what their location is, and then I'm copying and
Wow.
into one location. Big job.
How big's the site?
40 pages with a lot of images, perhaps more, 15, 30. Yeah, between 40 and 50 pages.
I've had worse, so it's not too bad.
No. Well, I have found that I've been using Page Builder.
Which one?
Page Builder Pro.
Okay. Who does that one?
And gosh, got the wrong head on. Hang on a minute.
Is it SP Page Builder or
SP Page Builder, yeah.
Joomla? Yeah.
And I've just discovered I can search and replace. So that's what I've been doing today. So I've got all the URLs in the right place.
Oh, good.
Now I look for the blank images and move them over. So in theory.
In theory, that's good. Yeah.
Just one of those jobs you wish you were neater on in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why it's a good opportunity to clean up. We migrated it's not in J4 yet. I must admit it's in J3, but we upgraded a very old membership database with a massive blog, about 1,500 blogs.
Oh.
And they have a very messy image database, but that's all their own doing, right?
What do you use for the membership?
Stuart, what are we using for that one? For custard apples? Stuart?
Membership Pro.
Membership Pro.
Okay. That's good.
And J2 store for the subscription purchasing.
Yeah, I've just done a couple of sites. I've given up on the blog and using one of the Facebook feeds, and that's looking really good now. So instead of a blog, I just take the Facebook feeds.
Oh, how does that go with loading?
Pretty good. I limit it to 24, I think, of the top. What you call on Facebook?
How does it look? Does it look good? Are you able to?
Yeah, if I send you a link, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress on the rest of it, but
I didn't get any beer. I only got the fridge on Sunday.
Oh no.
I could have swung back up.
I just bought wine at the bottle shop from the fridge and it wasn't actually that cold, so I've had to put it back in the
Or I'm sitting
freezer.
home.
That's a bit crap, isn't it?
Ice cubes?
I thought I'll get a cold one and that way I'll be ready. No, I had to put it back.
I won't mention I got a system error.
That's all right. We might
Just
be
as
able
I'm
to solve
showing
it,
off.
but Patrick might be able to solve it on the spot.
Yeah, I've never, it's only just occurred. No one's reported it. It's probably needs an update or something.
Have you put it in the chat? The link. Yeah, are you, which SP page builder are you using? The 3 or the 4?
Well, both. I'm using 3. I have been using 3, but obviously in my update, I'm now. But that seemed to move over quite easily.
Yeah, okay. And how are you finding the new version 4?
I haven't really used it. I haven't really used it to design. I'm just cleaning up those images, and I really enjoyed using it in version 3.
I did too, yeah. But I'm finding the 4 is just such a mess.
Really?
Starting from scratch, it's like, oh, it might be fine migrating, but
Oh, that's disappointing.
such a change in logic and everything. So I haven't enjoyed that upgrade at all. I've reverted back to using 3.
It's a pity things have to change sometimes, isn't it?
Well, sometimes they make sweeping upgrades. They don't upgrade something that was working really well and just maintain it and make it even more cool. Instead, they come up with this, let's rebuild it from scratch, and they completely change so much of the logic, you know, that it's just so buggy. Their one's so buggy at the moment. I don't know. That's what I found.
Seeing lots of comments on their website from unhappy users.
Are there?
Mm. Well, I think they tried to rebuild the whole thing from scratch, and maybe it didn't go as well as they'd hoped.
I think maybe they missed a whole lot of files and folders.
Right. I've got a few sites running SP Page Builder, but I haven't even attempted to update them to 4 yet, given some of the comments I've seen.
Mm.
Just like, oh, no,
I'm just
sounds
having
like
that.
it's a-
I'm
sounds
having
like
that
it's a fresh build.
Yeah, it is a fresh build, and I'm rebuilding in a test site, you know, a 3-page, very, very, very basic, but you know, highly graphical and pretty little website that I did for my niece, and I'm just rebuilding it to see how it works. But even something like I'm finding I host with Synergy Wholesale, and they are just blocking it at every angle. So ModSec is shooting
really?
every step of the way as well, on top of the problems with it. So it's like, is it a hosting environment blocking it from writing the CSS, or is it there a bug, you know? So
I mean, I had to get Synergy to whitelist a rule just to get the Joomla installer to work.
yeah,
I host there as well, but
Yeah.
there are zillions of ModSec rules, and
yeah.
they can be triggered by heaps of false positives.
Yeah, they've said to me from now on, because it's every single site that I do with them now, and they're all hosted there. So they've said to me to start adding them to admin tools, HT-Access. But, you know, that assumes I know what I'm doing and I know which ones have to go there. So I just need to compile a set, I think, that are most common. They, you know, I did say, could you give me a list and, you know, make life easier for me based on all the ones you've been.
They have no idea. I was like, oh, can you apply it to all of the accounts of my, you know, hosting?
Oh, I've done that. Yep.
Oh, no, we can't do that. You have to do it one at a time.
Then we expose everybody else, they say, and I'm like, well, I bet you why don't you just put all us Joomla folk on one side, one server, and just free it up for us?
But it wasn't even that with me. It wasn't so much doing it as a global thing. I just asked if they could do it globally on my account.
Mm.
And I know you have to lodge a ticket for each domain. And then the guy was like, oh, how about I give you the ModSec rule and you can add it yourself? I'm like, oh, ripper. Thanks for that.
Mm.
And then, of course, you know, the next site I was on had a different ModSec rule,
Yeah.
or the next component I was doing. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yes. So amongst all that, usually happens on a weekend for me. And I didn't realise with Synergy Wholesale that when you reply to them, even if you've paid for a priority ticket, which I did one weekend, that every time I reply, I go to the bottom of the queue, apparently. I sort of said, that's disgusting. I paid for a priority reply and I'm simply responding to what you've done.
I did notice that the other day because I had to lodge a priority for someone whose site was disabled because of ACY mailing actually legitimately sending out a newsletter. But anyway, that's another story. and I lodged that, and then I noticed when I went to reply that it had, you know, make your reply a priority for an extra $4.95. And I was like, hey,
I've already paid. Yeah, I paid $9.95 because I did
didn't
it
I just
out
pay
of hours.
$4.95 to do that? I mean, you're taking the piss, really.
Fuckers. Yeah.
Yeah, price gouging.
Mm.
Does get on your nerves, all these support things where it used to be a one-off.
Well, usually if you've got a ticket and you're responding to the ticket, you just
Yeah.
expect that you're somewhere, you know, being attended to until it's resolved. But just good to know, I suppose, good to know that that's the delightful service that you'll get.
And some are very good at their support and some are just,
Yeah.
it does seem though that the ones that you pay for are the worst ones. And some people that the Greek guy who does the report, the form builder,
Tassos. Is it Tassos?
smart.
Oh no. He's good. He's really good.
Yeah, he is just.
And regular labs are pretty good too, Ryan. There is
Convert forms.
convert forms.
Can't say I use that.
No.
I started to, but it is actually very, very, very good, and the support's very good. But I use freeze forms because you can put a lot of PHP control into pre and post form, and so I kind of use it as building little APIs in the system
Sounds very
for people who don't have APIs.
Yes. Less than I do.
Right then.
Right, Patrick.
I'm not going to be running the show tonight. I've got to disappear.
Who's running it?
Does raise a topic. If you're happy to keep meeting on the third Thursday, you can do so. Third Tuesday. You can do so without me. But if you'd like me to keep coming along, we might have to make a move to another date.
Okay.
Been successfully elected to my kids' high school council. And the one piece of information I didn't realise before I nominated was that it was on the day. Yeah. The only night of the month that I've actually got something that clashes is the Tuesday. So I'll leave you to discuss that when I disappear in 20 minutes. And then Nathan, Stuart and I will be doing some massaging again of the Linux Australia stuff and have that all sorted for next month. So we can host an AGM and actually get connected properly with all that sort of stuff. So But tonight, yeah, we need some more presenters coming forward. So tonight we've actually got we're just opening it up for a Q&A. And I know that a few people have been asking questions that I haven't necessarily found the answers to. Tony, whether yours is a doozy that the likes of Terry and Stuart can help you with, I'm not sure, but the J dispatcher issue might be a good one to start with.
That doesn't ping me. Okay.
So
Were you handing to me
Yeah,
my question? Which question did you have in mind?
well, no, so when you contacted me after last month, it was about that J dispatcher.
Yeah, the J dispatcher. I had on upgrading from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4, everything went pretty well, but then I found anything I tried to load had J dispatcher not found. And then I found it was deprecated in 8. And now I can't remember what it was deprecated to, but I searched and replaced and it didn't work either. But no one else seems to have come across that issue or problem.
I did see some posts that were much older.
Yes, I had that. They were a bit older.
Yeah, had something happen. But so what's the J dispatcher actually in?
It's not, I don't think is it not compatible with PHP 8?
That's correct, but there is a I'm just trying to get
Because I actually came across
I've
the
actually
other recently.
moved on for that. I'm just trying to find it, but there is an equivalent in PHP 8, which in some documentation it said to use, but I did a search and replace of every occurrence of it, but it didn't have any effect. So actually, I've more or less, since I asked that question, I have more or less moved on and building bit by bit, module by module into a new Joomla 4.
Right.
And can't say it's going smoothly, but it's going.
Yeah, so sometimes it's hard to put it
Answer
in
this one. There was a specific usage of JDispatcher, and there's an not accepted answer, but there's a upvoted answer. There's saying how to replace J event dispatcher is deprecated in Joomla 4, and what is the replacement? So that's the title of the post. There's probably a few more, but Sharky posted that one back in 2021, and I have yet to find a post from Sharky that's wrong. So it might be worth a look.
Yeah, I seem to have lost you somewhere. Am I still coming over on the video? I'll continue. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's asking me to open again. Yeah, well, I'll what I'll do is we'll can that question for this one and I'll investigate a bit more, but it cost me so many days and I was getting nowhere that I'm actually happier now doing bit by bit into a new Joomla. And I haven't come across the error yet, so I have a feeling it could possibly have been the template. But I used the Joomla 4 template. It seemed to occur across modules, across components, not just in one component. So I chickened out and started a new tack.
Press this in the mute. Oh, no, I want to turn it off now if you want to move it. Just
what J dispatcher actually does, Tony?
Yeah. What does it do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be my first port of call, is find out what
I think I looked it up. I'll go and Google again, but I've never used it. I did know the answer to that question in all my Googling, but it says,
Question in itself. Someone should ask, what does it do? Nobody knows
did
that,
do
huh?
something that I wasn't familiar with or ever needed to use, but it seemed to be used somewhere in Joomla.
So
Now
when you did you find the replace, did it turn up in any particular area in your template, or?
I couldn't even load the system.
I had the error turn up when I was trying to update a site to PHP 8 the other day. I can't remember which component it was now, but yeah,
The one on
updated the
one on
component to the
JSD.
latest version, the error went away.
This one on JSD is suggesting that might have something to do with the capture plugin. That's the context of the
You're
question.
right. You're right. That I linked it to that as well, and it didn't make sense even when I changed it. And even there was one post I found that said to update the capture and one to remove, both of which I did, and I still had that that issue. But you're right. You've jogged my memory now. It was something, or one post said it was to do with the capture.
Okay.
Well, I'll see before the next meeting if I can do another update. I can't believe it's just me that had the error
No, certainly not.
when I'm using quite normal modules, and it's not something I've customized. So perhaps I'll try and do the update again and pay more. I mean, when I did it, it drove me frantic. I could see it. I did a search and replace of all the source files, and it occurred in so many scripts. But it just drove me nuts that I moved on because I could see I wasn't going to get anywhere. And then I had other issues, so I'm quite happy starting again because I'm finding things like the template I've been using is not compatible, for instance, with Joomla CRM and with something else. Things don't work in it. Why they don't work, I don't know. Things like drop downs, icons. So I'm happy with the way that I'm progressing in the update process, but it would have been nice just to say upgrade to Joomla 4 and have it done. But I think we're all learning that lesson.
Yes, I think you're right. There's no such thing as an easy upgrade.
No, I'm the yeah, the templates I'm using are quite professional, and Joomla 4 compatible. But I'll report back on that in the next meeting. I'll try and do an upgrade because the fact that I had it has got to help somebody else. The fact that I haven't solved it is going to be no help to anyone. But so, in your experience, have you done upgrades that have just gone from 3 to 4?
Okay, yeah, we did a few little ones. We had a range of simple sites, and they all upgraded smoothly. But anything that's got a bit more complexity is there's usually something that trips it.
Yeah.
That's what we've found anyway.
Well, I'll do that upgrade again and make a better report on it, because it must be some little thing that then spreads itself out to all the modules, because it can't be I've just done one module at a time and I'm not getting the problem at all.
Okay, so I just asked ChatGPT, what does the Joomla function JDispatcher do? And it's part of the event routing system. But the last paragraph it eventually came up with, you had to think a bit harder on this one. I'll just put in the chat. The JDispatcher is an older class that was used in Joomla versions prior to 1.6. In newer versions, it's the J Event Dispatcher class is used.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what I searched and replaced with,
right,
and that couldn't be found either.
okay.
Same error, just different.
So when you got the error to come up, did it have a, like, did you turn on PHP errors? Error
Yeah,
report?
I did, and it was very lengthy. But to be honest,
Yeah.
all that came up, I never got anywhere at all right from the beginning. So as soon as you try and load the Joomla, it comes straight in with the error. So that's all that's on the page.
Yeah, okay.
But
Hmm.
oddly enough, I've brought over all the main components into Joomla 4, one at a time, and I've not come across the error. So I'm thinking it's something to do with some other little thing that I've got loaded that is used on every page or something.
Right, so something in the template that's causing, it's calling something.
Well, yeah, you'd think it was a template, but now I'm using the same template. So it's a puzzle.
But is it the same? Sorry, is it a Joomla 4 version of
Of
that?
the template, yes.
Right. So yeah, so when you first did the migration inside of Joomla, would it have kept that?
Yes, it would have kept the Joomla 3 version.
Yeah, okay. So that,
And then I had no opportunity to upgrade because it immediately came up with the error.
yeah, okay.
But I think I will revisit this and do it all again.
Yeah.
But I think what I did was I learned somewhere that it was the template. So I changed the template to the, is it a Cassiopeia one? There was one that said the standard
Yeah, the default one. Yep.
before I did the upgrade, and I
Yeah.
still got the error.
Yeah, okay.
Drove me nuts, so I moved on.
It certainly sounds like it's going to be site specific then, if it's.
Yes. Well, I'll do the upgrade again and have it there. So perhaps you'd like to.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I haven't gone through the process. So all of the sites that I've taken to Joomla 4 have happened to need to be a rebuild because they were such old Joomla 3 sites. New Joomla 4 sites. So I've got a couple that I'm about to go through the upgrade process now that I know that there's enough components in there, but yeah, it's certainly not an error that I've encountered, and not an error that a lot of people have encountered.
No, that's the strange thing. So
But that note on JDispatcher being very, very old, I think is likely to be part of the solution there. But yeah, it's
the sites that I've done have all started in the mid 3s. You know, I haven't done an upgrade from version 2. All the sites are quite newish.
it just rebooted. And it's likely that this is something that's a legacy. Like, I've got sites with 150 plugins on them because plugin clutter just kicks in, and sometimes it's a nightmare just to find what's causing it.
The bad one, yeah.
Deprecated error or something like that. So yeah.
That JDispatcher you're talking about, that was, according to the code, been depreciated in version 3, got replaced by J Event Dispatcher, which you've mentioned. That's now depreciated in version 4.
Yeah.
So if you move to it, you're going to have to change it again. If you're getting it, it's going to be an old code. You said it was appearing on each page. Have a look for plugins that are running, calling it. It's actually used to call plugins. So it kicks off an event triggers a plugin. So you might find you've got a bit of code. I just picked an old Joomla 3 site here I've got to migrate, and you've got ACY Mail, eDocMan, and one of the RS products, I think. Yeah, they're all still using it. So that's probably why you're having a problem when you get to Joomla 4. In Joomla 3, they just pointed JDispatcher to JEvent Dispatcher.
Right.
And that's why you now have to just go straight to JEvent Dispatcher. And they haven't aliased it. Why you couldn't find JEvent Dispatcher in Joomla 4, I'm not sure. But that's going to be to do with the code. Like you said, you went through and changed all the references to JDispatcher. Unless you've actually changed the use statements up to the top of the classes.
Yeah.
And that's probably, it should find it automatically. It should be just loaded with a part of Joomla, but there's possibly something in the one of the use statements above the class that's not finding it or picking up. Yeah.
Well, I got pretty familiar with doing that upgrade, and I could just go through and take out one extension after the other or plugin and see if I can.
Yeah.
It would be good to know because it's got to turn up for somebody else. I can't be the only person using.
Yeah, the code actually isn't in the plugin. It's the thing that calls the plugin.
Okay.
That fires off the plugin. So that's why in Joomla 4 you're supposed to use a new plugin event, whatever it's called. But yeah, if you're changing vendor code, you probably shouldn't be. You should be going back to the vendor saying, get your code up to scratch.
Well, I'm happy with the way I'm progressing because what we're saying is it's a rogue plugin, and now I'm just starting totally afresh and not bringing any. I mean, we've probably all popped a plugin and then forgotten to delete it, tried it out and left it there. So I've got a very clean system growing now, which is probably a good starting place rather than an upgrade.
Yeah.
Terry, you mentioned AC mailing as being an issue. I've upgraded to version 4 from 3.10.
Yeah, me too.
With AC mailing, no problem at all. But when you do the upgrade, it shows you a list of plugins that need to be upgraded for version 4. And once you do that, I've found that I don't use a lot of plugins, probably only 4 or 5. But everything just works. So once you've gone through that list at upgrade time, of ensuring that you've got the latest version.
Version of ACY Mail I'm looking at, probably version 7, I think. I've just got a copy of the Joomla 3 site here that I've got to look at. So by version 8, or whatever they're up to now, you probably find that they've actually fixed it. But again, it's not the JDispatcher thing issue isn't actually in the plugin. That's actually what in their code calling plugins. And they might have just updated it in later versions. So,
well, let's move on, and I'll get back to you next time. I'll revisit, because it will. If it's turned up for me, it'll turn up for somebody else sometime or other. I'm not that unusual. Odd maybe, but not unusual. So, well, thanks for your support on that one, but we'll move on, and I'll keep you posted.
So I'm going to be rude and leave, so I'll leave you to manage yourselves. I look forward to watching back some of the questions later, and several of you have got me on Skype and things like that, so if there's something that you want me to throw in 30 cents worth later, I can try and do that, but enjoy the rest of your evening. And,
thank you, Patrick. You enjoy yours.
Thanks, Patrick.
Although if any of you have been to a school council to know whether that is a sarcastic statement or not, as to whether they're going to enjoy it, we'll see what happens. So, yeah.
Did he actually say what Chat GPT gave him?
No, he just.
It was a total cliffhanger.
It might be in the chat.
No,
It's
it's
in the
not.
chat.
I was just going to do it now and see what it
It's
says.
in the chat.
I have actually tried to follow that one.
But I think Terry's provided more updated information about the status of said class.
What's next? Who's the boss?
Well, Nathan is the boss, really.
Hey,
Nominated him.
Sweet.
no, I'm cooked. I've been in back-to-back meetings for 2 days, so I've literally got nothing.
I've got not a question, but just something a bit interesting. Who has used alternate layouts and custom fields?
Sorry, what was that?
Alternate layouts and custom fields.
I use custom fields, and yes, both, I guess.
So have you created any custom layouts for your optional field for custom fields?
Well, that was kind of the whole point of last month's session on the search results template. Really, Stuart, if you've been paying attention. But
I was. Have you done a very simple one and just got a trim value of the value and got rid of all the other garbage? Like made it really, really simple. One line. So regardless of what
there's
the,
a way of calling the raw value in, like so without any of the field stuff that comes with it. Is that what you're after?
basically just the label, just the value rather than any ifs or buts or maybes, just the trimmed value that you can then put whatever you want around it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was pulling into the search template. I wasn't pulling any extra gump. You lost me a bit. There's some in that page on what was in the Joomla magazine on the custom fields. There's a bit of a discussion about the different ways you can call them into a template. One of them pulls it in with all of the kind of shit that would render if you just used the default kind of way of publishing it to the front end. But that you actually have to do some extra stuff for to make happen.
Yeah.
Now, I've been using them in forms. What for an example of a custom field would you use in a template?
Well, basically, what I was putting together was an automatic alt image, alt text for an image, and an image link. So I was just basically stripping out with the override, just stripping out the code, not the code, the value, and so that I could then put it in a piece of PHP to link it all together. So it was just really simple override, just basically just with the value and nothing else, regardless of what settings were on the front end, what settings were set to display before, during, or after.
So you're just getting the path to the image?
Yeah, and basically pulling out and what I actually had was a need to reconstruct an image from various parts, the folder, the directory structure, and the image name, and join it all together and combine it with an automatic alt tag, alt text in a nice little display. So that was all I was doing, but just wondered who'd done really simple override. It was just one basically almost one line in the override.
Yes, I didn't have any images in my search results template. So I've done something similar in K2 before, but that was just using a regular expression to basically strip out the part of the image tag that was being called in that I wanted. And it wasn't one line. So hopefully someone else has a better solution.
I see. I want to see what everybody's doing. I want you to show me yours. I want Nathan to show me his. I want to see it. Who's going to share it?
I can find you the old K2 crap, sure.
You can put it up.
Yeah.
Terry looks hungry. He might even be able to solve it.
Terry looks like he's looking for a solution.
I just put a little snippet up of probably nothing to do what you're talking about, but how I'm getting custom fields out of Joomla.
I think it's a great exercise for us to just take a very simple piece, like an override or something, and just walk ourselves through it and compare what you know to what everybody else knows. And somebody might pick up something and everybody wins. It's a great opportunity, especially on a night when we don't have a presenter. Let's get into it.
He's trying to get into his machine to bring up the code.
There we go. And I want to see your regular expression, Nathan.
Yeah. You just want the code snippet in the chat there.
I have a particular penchant for regular expressions. Oh, how do I see it up here? No, the mouse back there.
No, it doesn't.
It's not really mine, actually. I pinched it but from a Google search. It works.
Where's copy and paste regular expressions? Ugh.
Can you see that, Meg?
Yeah.
Okay. So it just says if there's, so basically in K2, it pulls in the image field as with image, the full tag, but it also automatically generates a crap alt tag. So basically I was wanting to strip that out and just get the image path. And the other part of it, I guess, is where that displays. Well, it would have been easier to share screen, I guess, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Not too late. Who's in charge?
I made him co-host.
All right, go ahead and share it.
So much not doing anything.
Exciting. Oh,
So there's 3 images that get called into this template that are set up as custom fields. So normally it would just display it with an image tag, and it just displays, I think, an alt tag, which is just like the file name, which is just crap. So yeah, basically it checks if there's a value for the hero image field. Then it does a preg match on all the image source stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going to find it. Here somewhere. Yeah, so basically it's got if the image is set, echo image source. So it just echoes the path to the image basically. So the kind of raw value of the path, which is kind of what you're talking about, Stuart.
Something like that.
Yeah, and so then basically I'd set up an extra custom field, text field for hero image alt, so that we could give it a proper alt tag for SEO purposes and whatnot.
It might be a good idea to HTML encode those values that you're pumping into the HTML document, just so you don't get any breakages. Like if there was a double quote, that it would be URL encoded, so it doesn't break your double quoting on that attribute. If we go up to the top where you the image string. So when you do that regular expression, the only that you're actually grabbing is the final piece. That's what the array pop is doing. And you're actually unconditionally trying to take the last element from result, but it's possible that there's nothing in there.
Right.
So I would suggest that
I'd already checking that though to see whether it has a value.
yes, you are checking the value is there, but there's no guarantee that your regular expression will absolutely match that. So if it doesn't, if it isn't an image tag or it doesn't meet all of the qualifications of that regular expression, it will be an empty array. And then you're still popping the last element where there isn't one. So it's probably a good idea to write an if condition on 94. So just wrapping that preg match call inside of an if condition. And then line 95 would be inside the body of that if condition. Also, because you're only taking the last capture group from that regular expression, you can remove the first, second, and third sets of parentheses. They're not benefiting your pattern because you are not using what's captured.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's not going to be a huge boost in performance, but it's just a matter of directness. It doesn't make any sense for you to load up the result array if you're only going to take one piece from it.
Sure. Yep. Makes sense.
And if anybody doesn't know what that capital U means, that is a pattern flag that says, do not be greedy when matching. So if there was, say, inside of that source attribute in that string, if there was a double quote that was inside double quotes on that final captured bit, using the ungreedy flag means that it would take the smallest possible match, and using it without the capital U, it would go as far as it could and grab as much of it as it could. So it's not wrong to use. I don't use it, but it's not wrong to use.
Cool.
How about you, Stuart? Did you get anything?
Yeah, just 1 sec.
Thanks for sharing your code, by the way, Nathan.
As I said, it wasn't my code, stolen off the K2 forums, but I'll take that feedback on board.
Did you look at the match function that we talked about last time? Did you have a study of that?
Yeah, I had a look at it. I didn't actually change it because I can't update to PHP 8 on the site that I'm running this thing on, and it's the only site I'm using it on at the moment. So, but I did have a look at it. Went, okay, yeah, cool, that'll be easy enough to work with. But I need to wait for a component or two to be updated.
Because I just jogged my memory. Just the code above what we were just looking at, it looked like there was a huge battery of if, else, if conditions.
Yeah. That code you were looking at is about 6 years old. So.
Okay. So whenever I see that and all of the else if conditions are all checking the same exact value, that usually indicates that there should have been a switch in old code and you could be using match in new code. So.
And this particular site ain't even running on 7.4 yet. So we'll just,
All right.
Well, K2 is barely, it's not hardly like that runs on J4 yet, is it? So.
What do we know?
All right, hang on, just let me share my screen.
Look at that. I'm just gonna...
So what I did, well, I've got a number of custom fields, about 40, and I basically changed the layout because I just wanted for particular fields just a trim value only. So the net result of that is I've got this, basically this before and after constructed value for all of the 13,000 articles. Does this look familiar, Mick?
Oh no, I pressed the button.
Basically, it just combines the field values together and automatically creates the image and the alt text. And that pulls the image straight from Amazon S3.
button, the blue one. There you
And
go.
how that works,
I'm gonna go look at
my
it.
little, my override is basically just one line. So it's super simple. It gets rid of all the standard information that comes through, and basically just says, regardless of whatever settings are in the custom field, only bring back the value.
That one specific one, and you just echo it. You don't
Yeah,
return it.
correct. Just echo it.
And it's working or it's not working?
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah. So does anybody do it differently than what Stuart described, or have another example? Crickets, baby.
Stuart's looking more efficient, certainly.